Cool. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the panel discussion on youth perspectives on design education, facilitated by the fantastic SEED employees you see in front of you. Thank you all for leading us through this important conversation. We really appreciate it. My name is Jennifer Lawrence, and I'm honored to be the Executive Director of the Hideo Sasaki Foundation. Thank you for being with us tonight. We would like to first start by acknowledging the land on which you are all meeting and which I am also on. This land is the territory of the Massachusetts, Pawtucket, and their neighbors of the Wampanoag and Nipmuc peoples, who have stewarded this land for hundreds of generations. We recognize the repeated violations of sovereignty, territory, and water perpetrated by invaders that have impacted the original inhabitants of this land for 400 years. We extend our respect to citizens of these nations who live here today, their ancestors who have lived here for over 500 generations, and to all Indigenous peoples. We also affirm that this acknowledgement is insufficient. It does not undo the harm that has been done and continues to be perpetrated against Indigenous peoples, their land, and water. We must do more. At the Sasaki Foundation, we believe that design has the power to address the most urgent challenges facing us, and design can be an agent of change. Our work aims to amplify the voices of communities, to create space for dialogues that highlight important topics of social justice and resilience, to allow people access to design, and to provide design education and employment opportunities for youth. To do this work, we have a strong team of foundation staff and board and many, many volunteers working tirelessly. Thank you for all of your hard work. We truly appreciate it. And as you will see this evening, much of our organizational focus is on engaging meaningfully with youth, to learn from them, to introduce them to what a career in the design industry might look like, and to work together towards a more equitable future. We hope you are also able to learn from this incredible panel and their expertise this evening. And for you all, good luck. You're going to do so well. I can't wait to hear what you have to say. Now it's my pleasure to introduce you to our moderator, Emely Fernandez, a designer at Sasaki, and formerly a summer exploratory experience in design teaching assistant at the Sasaki Foundation. So take it away, Emely.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Emely Fernandez, and like Jen mentioned, I am an architectural designer here at Sasaki. It has been such a pleasure to have participated for the 2021 SEED program, and through the program, I was able to use my own experience and also my own design skills and some of my humorous anecdotes of my college experience and pass that on to my students. And within the program, it was not just me as a teaching assistant, but also Shamar Stewart and Rebecca Dejanay. And each of us had 3 students. And so it was a 6-week long program where we were able to guide students through their own design proposal. And I will say that throughout the 6 weeks, we were all continuously amazed by what the students were able to produce and how they exemplified their very hard work. As you can see with these images, beautiful renderings through SketchUp. And so before I pass it off, I just want to say that I have no doubt that these students that have participated in SEED will do great things in this world. I'm so excited for you guys to hear more about their own experiences at SEED. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it on to the students so they can introduce themselves.
Sorry, guys. Hi, I am Aubrielle, or you could call me Bree. I am a junior at Community Academy of Science and Health, and I was a part of SEED 1's Team Cypress. Oh, and I want to be an architect when I grow up.
I'm Arham. I'm a senior at Cambridge Rindge and Latin. I was part of SEED 1 2 years ago, and I was also part of SEED 1 this most recent summer. SEED 2.
Hi, my name is Evie. I'm a senior at Boston Latin Academy, and I was part of the current SEED team Ginkgo this year, and I'm interested in civil engineering.
Oh, I think I forgot to mention, but I'm also interested in architecture.
Nice, nice. All right, so without further ado, let's jump right into discussion with our wonderful students, as they have many wonderful experiences that they would like to share with everyone. And so the first question for the students is, what was your first impression of the program?
When I first came to Seed, I was amazed because I knew that it was going to be a great summer and I was actually going to walk out learning something. Because within the first week, we were handed a big project and we were handed a whole bunch of programs and software that I never even heard of when I've been doing architecture programs since I was like 12.
I'd say stepping into like Sasaki, it was a really professional environment. So it really felt like this internship was a real thing. It felt like we were like being taken seriously and all the people around us really cared about our education. We had really good mentors who we had many mentors who like went out of their way to put extra effort and really show that they were involved and really give us all we needed to like really do well.
Yeah, just adding on, Sasaki has provided such an experiential learning system, which is really cool. As Bree mentioned, we were constantly working with software such as Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop and SketchUp on our projects. In addition, every Friday we were going on field trips to sites, whether they were complete, incomplete, in construction. So it was really cool to be able to see that process happening.
Absolutely. And I have a follow-up question for you guys. So what did you guys notice was different from other programs that you guys may have been a part of? How was Seed different?
Okay, so like before Seed started, I was a part of another program for architecture and it felt like arts and crafts. Like we were making pencil cases and stick figures out of wire when we were supposed to be doing a project, but it was just basic. I felt like I was in kindergarten.
Yeah, I will say Seed is a very hands-on program. I mean, you're meeting with mentors and, your teaching assistants, not only through every week, but throughout the day as well. It's like a 9 to 5, so almost like an internship. So the students have definitely learned a lot. Arham, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I'd say Sasaki was really a like a holistic experience. Like we were learning about things that were happening at the firm, projects people were working on, and while also like learning what to do for our own projects. We got a lot of interviews with principals, so we were learning about their experiences going into the field to better understand how we might go into the field. So it just felt really well rounded, like all the bases were being covered.
Yeah, I totally agree. During this seed internship kind of thing, we got to see like a glimpse into what this work field will really look like, which is really helpful for like a senior like myself, not really knowing what to do.
Yeah, I think that as a high school student going into such a program, you really learn a lot, right? And you have these one-on-ones or like interviews with the principals and some of the Sasaki staff. And so you're able to get a lot of pointers on what academia might look like for you based on what studies you're going into, and also just how to go about the design process, right? So I also want to ask, how has the SEED program impacted you?
Okay. I would say Seed has really Seed has really like shown me that architecture is definitely what I want to get into because it gave me a glimpse of what my future would look like.
For me personally, I spent a lot of my like high school experience sort of thinking I was going to go into computer science. So from like freshman to junior year, I was taking a lot of computer science classes at my high school. And then summer of my sophomore year, I got into Seed One. So I knew I had a general interest in design, but never specifically in architecture. So through doing the Seed program, I found out that I like really enjoyed the architecture and design process, and that's when I sort of pivoted. I did Seed 2, and now I'm planning on majoring in architecture in college. So yeah, I'd say it's had a really like fundamental impact on me and really shifted my like career goals.
Yeah, like everyone has said, but Seed has really introduced me into the fields of design, architecture, and engineering, creating my passions for this field. Um, they also, as I mentioned before, they give us opportunities to access software like Adobe Illustrator and such, which gives us a head step and gives us a step ahead of our peers. So we're entering this field with a lot of experience. Um,
All right, and Arham, I just want to add to your point about computer science. Don't lose any of those skills because you can actually use Dynamo and Grasshopper to create designs, and you can use scripts and type scripts for those. So keep that in the back of your pocket. Another question I have for you guys: how has the opening of the doors of a firm impacted your understanding of the design industry?
When I first heard about architecture and like I would hear about like projects and stuff, I thought it was only one person making those projects. But when I came to Sasaki and I met all the different like parts of like the design, I've realized that it's a group of people that come together and they make a group project. It's not just one person. I mean, sometimes, but rarely.
Yeah, absolutely. And I had a similar experience. I shadowed the 10 World Trade project back in 2019, and I was just a freshman in undergrad. And I remember coming into Sasaki and seeing so many different professionals working on one project. And prior to that experience, I had no idea that, a design project has to do with lots of different, lots of people, and it's a team effort. So I would agree, these types of experiences really open your eyes to what the design process is really like.
I think what I found most valuable was when we were talking to a lot of these principals and mentors, they didn't like sugarcoat their experiences on the design industry. So we were hearing a ton about like the positives, but we were also getting some of the negatives, like really bad like work-life balance and things like that. And so learning about those things like before you're in it, I think is really important because it really gives you a more realistic like expectations for when you're pursuing a career like this. So I'd say that was incredibly valuable for me.
Yeah. When I came into something like Seed, it was almost like stepping right into a new dimension. There was such an abundance of resources provided to me, specifically my mentors who always gave helpful advice on my designs, giving, like Arham said, saying like, oh, maybe add this, take away this. I always thought that was really helpful. And they also were always open to talk. Every mentor I met was super welcoming, making sure I understood the topic. And if I had any questions, felt free to ask, whether it was about day-to-day life or the career in general. And they always made sure that I had their contact information to make sure I can refer back to them if I ever had future questions.
Absolutely. I think that it's such a valuable experience getting to talk to other design professionals at the firm, and then also them giving you, lots of nice advice. And also they give you lots of feedback on your own projects that you guys are working on. And I just wanted to ask, like, what skills were you guys able to develop as a result of participating in Seed? You're getting lots of advice. You're working on your own design projects. And you're also, honing in on, leadership skills and interpersonal communication skills. Like, what were some of those skills for you guys that you guys were able to develop?
One skill I was able to develop this summer was like the software side. Like I've done the drawing, but I've never like I did I think they showed it, but I did a exploded axon of our greenhouse, and I never struggled so much with computers ever until this summer. And it was the lagging, it was
Yeah,
but that's one of the skills I developed this summer.
absolutely. And I love that you use the term exploded axon, already learning all the terms.
In Seed 2, I know one thing I was really excited for this year was we got to build physical models, which wasn't something I'd gotten to do in Seed 1. I know our team kind of went overboard with that. We made like 4 models, and then we had like a model that was like this big, just a wall section. It was all really cool. We spent like 2 weeks in the lab, but So other than that, I think since Seed 2's project was more competition focused, we making like the final presentation was a bit of a different experience because we're convincing people about our design. So just those like that like different side of presenting was something unique, and it was a new experience for me at least.
For me, I definitely think I strengthened my skills in collaborating and communicating with people. You know, every day I was communicating with my peers, whether it's in the office or out of the office, making sure that we're all catched up and all good to go for the next day, or making sure our designs are perfect, everyone knows what they're doing. Um, sorry.
Yeah, I remember you mentioned earlier that, also, not only working on, 3D models, but just being able to speak up about your own your own projects and ideas. I think that was very compelling to me. Do you want to talk more about that?
Oh yeah, sorry. I also learned the importance of advocating your voice. You know, in this field, there's no perspective that's not important. So making sure all your opinions and ideas are on the table is really vital to creating such a great design piece. And so yeah, making sure to advocate for all your opinions.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I have anything to add, I would say that, when I was a freshman and I came to Sasaki, I really learned also that just how to distill information through drawings, how to communicate ideas and information through drawings and diagrams, right? And so, it's just really special when you're actually there and you're like doing these hands-on, projects. So I think I would like to ask, what was the hardest part of the design process, or maybe the hardest week that you guys had in the program?
I would say the most difficult thing is when you work so hard on something and then you guys come together and then you have to restart because you realize like this is not it. This is not what it's gonna be. And I would say the hardest week was probably final presentation because it was like kind of intimidating because the other teams, they would come to our door and they'd be like, oh, ours is better than yours. And then and then we'll be like, wait, no, it's not. No, it's not. Where it's even. And then they'll be like, no, ours is definitely better. And then you're just like, then you're trying to make the presentation look good, and then you're trying to make everything look so like unreal. And that was very difficult.
Well, I have to say the competition doesn't stop when you're in college. You're looking at your other peers like, my drawings look better than yours. But I will say to your point that you made earlier, when you're getting these critical pieces of feedback on your projects, it's not something negative that they're pinpointing on your project. This feedback is really to help you and your project and refine your project to a point where it's viable, right? And so I would like you guys to all know that, it's not going to stop. That's something that continues in academia and past academia, but those pieces of those comments and those pieces of feedback are all very beneficial to your projects, and it's only going to help you.
For me, I think the most difficult part of the project came a little bit earlier. I think earlier on, when we had finished like our first initial design, we went to like mentor critique. I know some of our mentors are here today, and our design sort of got very harshly critiqued. So like Aubrielle was saying, we had to go back to the drawing board. And I know that was like a really difficult experience because sometimes you have to learn how to take feedback impersonally and really grow from it. And I think it ended up being really good for us because the second iteration of our design was much better than the first. And yeah, we ended up doing really well. So
For me, since it's like my first time in this design field, I didn't realize that I can't just place something there because I want to. There's a lot more details that go into it, such as maybe noise vibration and how that's going to affect the building, or the soil is contaminated. You can't plant stuff there. So figuring out where to put things that work efficiently, effectively into the site building was really difficult for me in the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. And that goes into site analysis. I think that in academia, especially in undergrad, and you're a first year in your architecture program, and the other kids are like, why do we have to do site analysis? It's not that important. It is. It really is. It's very detrimental to, your final product and how well and how successful your project ends up to be. And to Arham's point, I think that, design is a very iterative process. You never stop iterating up until you really have to stop. But yeah, like it doesn't stop. And the more you iterate, the better your final product is. And so on to our next question. What was your favorite part of the design process?
I mentioned earlier, I really enjoyed building the models. I don't know, it felt like sort of building Legos as a kid. So I spent a lot of time doing that.
Yeah, I really value the time that we got to work with our peers to create these 3D renderings because there's something about sketching up something from some trace paper and putting it into a 3D model. It's so magical seeing what it would actually look like on site.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, I had a lot of favorite parts.
You can say all of them.
I would say the tracing, like being able to put the trace paper over the map and then like coloring. It was very satisfying.
Absolutely. Coloring is my favorite part too. All right. And why should programs like this have more support? How has this program improved diversity, equity, and inclusion in the future, you think?
More programs like this should have support because not everyone can come to this one. So if we get more support, we can spread it all around. And sometimes, like, I didn't know what I wanted to do at first, like when I first entered high school. And I feel like that's a lot of high school students. They're like pressured to always know what they want to do, but they don't know where to start. So I feel like if we can get more support for these programs, that it'd be more accessible and more kids can, figure out if architecture or design is for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just seconding that, I think just because not everyone can go to this one program. So increasing access is really important. And I think, like I mentioned, this program sort of made me pivot my career choices. And so if a lot of people were able to experience something like this, they might discover something that they wouldn't have gotten to before. And I know a priority for Sasaki was to sort of encourage diversity. And I think that's really important for the field too, because I think what's really important about architecture is getting like a mix of perspectives. And so not only is it good for the people who are able to get this increased access, it also ends up benefiting the field in general. So yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with my peers. I think that the best designs come from diverse backgrounds, and diversity brings all these new perspectives and innovation into the field. So being able to expand our horizons into new teams like myself, I think will ultimately benefit us in the future.
Absolutely. And I just want to add that, as a teaching assistant, within the 6 weeks of the SEED program in 2021, I was continually astounded by, what the students were, producing. And very often I saw the students solve design problems very creatively. And it was because they were all coming from, diverse backgrounds, and they had very diverse ways of thinking and perspectives and ideas. And that's such a competitive advantage for any design team. And so I also want to ask, how did working with other students with different backgrounds and your own background and perspectives affect your designs?
I have a really specific example. This summer, I had what we call him, teammate. I had a teammate, and his name was Igal, and we were thinking about how we would have shade in our amphitheater?
Amphitheater.
Yes,
Yeah.
that. We were trying to figure out how we would have shade for that place, and he was like, "Oh, we have something in my culture called an Abawi umbrella." I think I'm probably saying it wrong. And basically, it was like an inverted umbrella, and it had solar panels, and it had shade, and then it can like open and close. It was it was really cool. And we never would have known about that unless it was for the diversity in the program.
Absolutely. Taking cues from other cultures. Great.
A big part of our like early stages of design was making mood boards of people's cultures. And I think hearing about what everybody wanted to incorporate from their own backgrounds, like religions, where they were born and their like cultures, was really cool. I think we also explored different like cultural like design aspects. I think there were these like Arabic windows. I can't remember what they were called, but they looked pretty cool. And so our final design ended up being something that was heavily inspired by Native American weaving culture. So I'd say it definitely like diversity definitely played a really like material role in our like design process.
Yeah, in Team Ginkgo, as we were working on our design, a few of my peers were stressing the importance of like ADA accessibility. And it's because some of their family members struggle through walking through certain structures with this. So I feel like it's really cool how they stress this because it shows a little bit of their personality, making sure that when they build stuff that they don't face the same problems that they're facing today. So I think that's really important to incorporate in design.
Yeah, Evie, to your point, I think that, as designers, and you guys are many designers, we can use our own perspectives and ideas to help shape the built environment that's surrounding us, right? It's not just ADA, but also making sure that, the built environment is accessible to not only, handicapped persons, but also people with, neurological adversities as well. And so, and also minorities as well. How do minorities go about the world, and how would one like design the built environment with their own diverse background? So those are all great points. And I just want to ask, if you guys could change anything to the program or add anything, what would you like to change or add? The seed program's already great, but
I would say the same. One thing I would change is like we were forced to like sit and like we were forced to sit in this area and listen to people. No, it wasn't bad. I liked you guys' speeches and all that. But I was just like, we were forced to sit here and listen to what they were going to say. But I feel like they could have pushed people to step outside their shells, because for me, I was kind of shy, and I didn't really speak to either of these two until just now. So I would say pushing like people to like, get themselves out there and talk to different people besides their team.
do you think that like having a cross-pollination of teams would have been great?
Yeah, Jimmy did a really good job with that, where he would have like games and we would come together.
It's really nice.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Aubrielle. I think the games were all really fun, and I think just team building as like an entire experience was really good for the program. I'd say also more opportunities to work on like art skills is also really useful, because I know as I'm applying into college, building up an art portfolio is a really big thing for me. So getting the opportunity to work on those skills more would definitely have been really useful.
Personally, I think that there should be more mentors or more time one-on-one with mentors, because these were the people. There was actually a woman at Sasaki who introduced me to the civil engineer aspect that I immediately fell in love with. And with her guidance, I've been following this route into my college journey to accomplish what she has. So I think that being able to have the opportunity to talk to them more will benefit students in this program as well.
Absolutely. So would you recommend, it being implemented into the program, having one-on-ones with mentors?
Yes, I would definitely recommend that.
Awesome. So this is my last question. Now that you guys have graduated from the SEED program, what are you guys planning to pursue in terms of studies? And like what excites you the most about this new chapter that you guys are going to be entering?
I'll be honest, even though this was all about like design, I realized that I didn't feel as creative as my peers during this. So I learned that I didn't really want to be kind of designing something all the time. But in the beginning, I loved site analysis, which kind of led me into more civil engineering. So going into college this upcoming fall, I hope to study more civil engineering and see where that takes me.
Awesome. Good luck, Evie.
Similar to what Evie said, I think actually I felt I'd explored a few other fields before and I felt I wasn't able to really express my creativity in those fields. But for architecture, I felt sort of the opposite. I really liked the challenge of like creating something within a lot of set parameters. And so I felt like I was able to express myself a lot in those types of situations. So like I mentioned, I'm trying to go into architecture and yeah.
Awesome.
As I am a junior, I still have a little bit more thinking to do, but I've seen helped me like solidify that architecture is definitely the field I'm going into, and it's helped me like narrow the colleges I want to go to down. And I had a connection at Wentworth from my school, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Nice, nice. Well, I'm wishing you guys all the best. Good luck, guys. All right. And so we're just going to pass it on to you guys. If you guys have any questions, it's open to you guys now.
Sorry. Hi. So I currently work at another firm, and we're kind of starting up summer internships with students as well. And we worked really hard for this past summer to create a 6-week program as well through BPIC to teach students design and architecture. And we're trying to see ways to improve on our program. That's why I came here, and I really appreciate this panel. Thank you for this. What I was wondering was, how did you feel, I guess, about the pace of the program? 6 weeks is not a lot to learn everything. We've definitely had trouble with that. We wanted to teach everything, but we noticed it was a bit of a struggle. And I was wondering, like, how is the pace for you guys? Did you feel like maybe certain areas needed more time than others to create a more successful program?
I'd say so. The way I think we set it up here was every week was a different like part of the design process, and that sort of like built into like ending up with a final like design and presentation. So I'd say it's obvious that you're not going to be able to hit everything with like super in depth, but I think we were definitely able to get like a general understanding of each thing. And I think there was enough like built-in flexibility where if people really wanted to, they could explore, which was really important. But I think just like building in that flexibility is really important. So don't like try to push it too much. Like build some time for kids to really like explore what they want to.
Yeah, for me, I thought it was well paced. Again, going a bit back to that adaptability, I think it was also really helpful that we had a mentor for each group who was like our designated mentor, and we could always ask them for help. So even if like together we're working on this, even if we didn't understand it, our mentor could come back and we could ask questions, and ultimately that really helped like balance it out almost.
Like Arham said, we had each week was a different like subject, I think, subject unit. Yeah. So we would have different
Then we had concepts.
Yeah. And at the end of each week, we would have like a group presentation where we'd show what we have done so far. So I feel like making each week something different and also leaving space for like them to explore on their own was really good.
Hi, thanks for this program. I'm Joe James. I do K through 12 outreach for the BSLA, the Landscape Architecture organization here. And I completely agree, we need more seed-like programs across the nation, because it seems like the in-depth kind of attitude towards it is very effective for you all. I have a question though. How did you first learn about the program, and where was that connection made? Was it at high school, or did you talk to a Stephanie? Or
I think I heard about it from my one of my high school counselors, because they're usually connected to a lot of STEM opportunities in the city. So we get emails whenever an opportunity is available. Yeah, I think that was it.
Yeah, so my school holds like a college fair almost type of thing. And here there was like a bunch of Sasaki flyers, and someone was from, I don't know if they were from Sasaki. Oh, it was you?
so it was a
Yeah.
Stephanie.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, and okay. Well, Stephanie was there. I didn't see you though. That's so funny. But yeah, I grabbed one of the flyers. It looked interesting enough, signed up. But I also know that a lot of my friends, their friends did this program, and then they kind of just like spread the word, and then word comes around.
I can't really say much because my mom, she knew I wanted to do architecture. So whenever an architecture program or opportunity showed up, she would have me on it ASAP.
That's a great mom for you.
Hi guys, just a quick question. I know for many of you, working at Sasaki was like your first proper job. So how was the adjustment like working in a professional setting for the first time? Was there any struggle or problem transitioning to a professional setting like Sasaki?
At first, I was a little scared to show up because Stephanie, she sent an email and it was about the wear. And at the previous job I had before I came to Seed, girls were wearing anything. So I was just like, what am I supposed to do? And then my mom, she had me all dressed up and it was just how I showed up and how I presented myself. That was kind of like a little scary, but otherwise I was good.
I think, yeah, it took a little bit of time to adapt. Definitely, I think me and one of my friends who did the program, we sort of enjoyed the opportunity to dress up. It made us feel a lot more professional, and it made the entire experience feel a lot more real.
Yeah, I think like the simple things of just dressing professionally was something that made me like, oh, I feel so adultish almost. Like, look at me, I'm growing up. Um, but then also it kind of went into my experience of, wow, I feel like I'm actually being treated as an adult and not just some kid who's doing the work. Like I'm going into this environment with my peers and with my mentors, and and I'm going to treat them with the same respect they treat me with, I treat them with.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Arvin. It's nice to see you again. I'm Jen Kaplan. I'm with Eisenberg Projects, and we helped coordinate the 10 World Trade Design Competition this summer. But I wanted to know from all of you, so both years had client projects this year, and I'm curious what that experience was like. What were some things that were hard about having a client, and what were some things that were really good about that?
It was good because, well, it was good and bad because of the same reason, because we knew what they wanted, but it was also adapting our ideas to what they wanted. So it was balance.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The 10 World Trade Project was extremely open-ended. So it was the possibilities were endless, which is a good thing and a bad thing. So with that, and I think it also added to I've been repeating this a lot, but it added to the reality of the experience. But I think overall it was definitely a net positive, because it gave us a real experience with what it's like in the architecture field. And like I said, I enjoy working in set parameters. So that was really cool.
Yeah, so it's almost like a checklist that we're going down. and making sure that we hit every mark, but we're also not missing anything. I think some of the things that I really appreciated was this year we worked at the Groundwork Somerville Urban Farm. And so they really stressed the importance of recycled materials and stuff like that. So I thought it was really cool that I had like a little bit of homework to go and say, well, how can I make this building the same, but also fitting that criteria of using recycled materials?
Since you mentioned that, there is a field called materials engineering. I don't know if you ever heard of it before. And I was going to ask if you think that the work you did over the summer or the work you want to do in the future in architecture or civil engineering will involve mathematical thinking. And does that affect your attitudes or your approaches to mathematics?
Well, personally, I love math. Like English never clicked for me. I was always okay, but I never wanted like a strict answer of what this book meant. I really couldn't tell you. I would think something else. But I love how math you always made 1 + 1 would always equal 2, no matter what. And you just had to figure out how. So honestly, if math is more incorporated into a subject, I think I'm more inclined to go there, if anything.
I'm sort of the exact opposite. Math kind of scares me a little bit, but that's why I think the like creative and like artistic aspects of architecture really stand out to me. I'd say I'll leave the math to the engineers.
I'm just like Evie. I love numbers. I love all the extra stuff that you have to do. Like, and when they ask you what a triangle is, when you can obviously see it's a triangle, but like having to explain it, I love math. I just love it.
I just want to say how impressed I am with you guys. I remember Arham when he was in maybe 3rd grade in primary school, in elementary school, and now he's grown up and speaks so well. I'm really impressed.
I'd also like to share that sentiment. I actually work for the BAC and teaching their summer program for students. So to see you all sitting up here, I'm also a master's in landscape architecture student. And to hear these things that you are saying at this age and level, which is now basically my everyday. So I'm like, oh my gosh, are you all like, are you high school students right now? Super impressed, I think, as well. And it's exciting to see that the kind of chokehold that STEM has on you, the youth is not really holding on. Being able to see that you want to step away from the computer sciences and things is really impressive. So kudos to you all, and really looking forward to seeing how your design careers advance from here.
I'm glad that you guys did not feel like it was too much. And I wanted to let you know, sort of building off what other people were saying, that Hannah and I were super impressed with you guys, with the groups that we taught, because we really didn't hold back at all. Like, we were teaching you basically what we thought was really important, thinking from our experience up to this point. And we didn't hold back at all, and you guys soaked it all up and did an amazing job. So it was very exciting to see, and very amazing to see that you don't have to have years and years of college level experience to learn about design. You can learn about it very quickly and appreciate it very quickly. So that was really cool for us to see, and we really enjoyed working with you, and we're so happy you guys did so well. So yeah, thank you.
And I'll just say my last bit. I also echo the amount of time that you are all able to accomplish, like what you were able to accomplish in 6 weeks. Like, I was like continuously hearing from all the mentors, like, this is a lot. Like, this is like the first year of college in 6 weeks, and to see you all absorb it so well, and not only that, but be able to learn like professional skills and learning how to collaborate with each other. There's a lot of stretching that's happening in this program in the sense of like the content, but also like you're learning about yourself and like how you work with others. Like that's a big, big deal. Like, you know, you're going through it and you may not feel it, but I think that's going to prepare you so much for going into university. And that's like what it's really like in that environment. So thanks again. This was amazing. And thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it. Can we have a round of applause? Hey. Well, we're dismissed, but also we have our other event coming up on November 16th. If you want to support programs like this or like public events like this, come purchase a ticket and like have fun at the party with us. It's going to be a really, really great event on the 16th. So let me know if you have any questions, and the QR codes are over there if you're interested in that.